Welcome back to the Rise to Her podcast. Happy freaking Monday. How's everyone feeling? I have just spent the day outside playing with my dogs, hanging out with my wife. We did brunch. It was awesome. There's a place nearby that does these really beautiful gluten-free, dairy-free options. And so I was able to eat a really yummy vegan, gluten-free Liege waffle, have this breakfast scramble. We went to a farmer's market. It was just a really good day. If you're watching the video, I am wearing this vintage leather vest that I got at a yard sale. So I'm just feeling good. Yesterday, we had our Witches and Wine events. If you're in the greater Portland, Oregon area, we do these events once a month where I connect to an energy of some type of witch or some type of witchy practice and lead a workshop on it so that you can continue to dismantle the patriarchy inside of your own lives. And if that's something you're interested in, you're in the area, connect with me on Instagram at Rise to Her. Send me your email. I can get you on the notification list. We've sold out every single event and it is creating this really beautiful community. So I'm riding a high from that as well. Last week, I also did the energy reading for the Rooted community, and the energy for August, guys, I'm just going to be so brutally honest, is that it is spicy. It is very, very spicy. So make sure you're reporting back every Monday to hear how to work with the energetics of the week so that you can put your best foot forward, so that you can understand that you are loved, you are cared about. Spirit and nature is here to work with you. You just have to understand how to navigate it, how to listen to the language that it's speaking. And that's what we do here. We help you reconnect and create energetic mastery so that you can be in connection with Mama Earth and the energetic patterns that are happening both here in the 3D and beyond. And if you're in the Rooted community, just know that full month reading is live in the Rooted portal. You can get to it by going to coaching calls. And if you're not in the Rooted community, this is never a better time than now to go ahead and jump in. You can get a 7-day free trial. Again, this is created for entrepreneurs, leaders, and creatives to deconstruct their stress and burnout cycles, become energetic masters, learn how to read energy cycles so that you can show up and create more magic, more income, more peace in your business and in your career without buying into this capitalistic burnout and feeling like you're constantly being pushed around. When you are able to learn these energetic patterns, you feel this deeper support. And by getting these monthly readings, you're getting an overview. We do deep tarot pulls. We pull some archetype cards. It's just like a really deep overview integration prompts. So you can get access to that now for free with a 7-day free trial. And that'll be in the show notes. All right, let's jump into this week's archetype reading. This week's card, the archetype that we are working with, the energetic patterns that we are working with are based around the bardo. And if you don't already know what that archetype is, I want to warn you that it might sound strange at first because the bardo is the space between one life and the next. It is this threshold. It is this liminal space of possibility. It is not strictly, oh, everything's ending. It is not, oh, this is a beginning. It is the gap between where normal rules of life are going to loosen up. So this week is probably going to feel a little loosey-goosey. It's probably going to feel like, well, that's not how I've always done it. Beautiful. I'm going to tell you how to work with that. I'm going to tell you how to use it so that you can feel more supported in your life, in your career, in your business. I want to start with what this liminal space is offering us. Well, we know this liminal space, we can't live there permanently, and you're not supposed to live there permanently, but you do pass through one every time there is something that is in our life that is going to end, and when there has not been something that has taken its place yet, filled that gap per se. And maybe it could be relationship shifting, it could be a job that you have outgrown, you just haven't left it yet. It could simply just be this version of yourself that hasn't fully come to fruition or hasn't fully come to close and the cord hasn't been cut. and you're like standing next to a version that you haven't fully stepped into, right? It's just like, I know something's shifting. I know there's a lot moving around and I feel like I'm this close. Like I'm so freaking close, but I'm in this like in between. That is what we're working with the Bardo. And so if you've been feeling this really untethered feeling lately, like every time you do something, the ground is shifting again, that nothing is really feeling stable, that is the Bardo. You are standing in a transition. That is what this week is offering you, a time to transition and be energetically supported with it. And these transitions, they don't come with these solid floors because the possibilities are endless. But the instinct that most of us have when we feel this transition, this liminal space, is to grab for something. This could literally be anything. I'm talking to my perfectionists, my high achievers, my eldest daughters, the people that take care of anything and everything because we love control. My wife was joking the other day. She's like, yeah, because you love when plans change last minute. And I was like, just love them so freaking much, right? Every time something shifts, I'm like, ugh. And my instinct is to be like, no, that's not what was happening, right? And so for those of you that connect with that energy, this is going to feel a little destabilizing. And I want you to notice when you feel that need to grasp or control, grasping on a decision. It could be a distraction, a person. It could be a plan, something to feel like you are standing on solid ground. But this archetype, the way to move with this week's energetics is quite literally asking you to do the opposite of that. It is asking you to stay in the in-between long enough to hear what is for you and your soul specifically, to actually tap into the endless possibilities for you. And that's really freaking exciting. This energy has a lot of things that it can help with. And there are a few things that we need to tend to and pay attention to when this Bardo space is being activated this week. The first is old grief or old conversations that have not come to a resolution, because the veil between what we have known and what isn't, like the newness, the possibilities, it gets very thin in this space. So things that you thought that you already dealt with, they can resurface during this time. That is what this energy is bringing up. Hey, I'm bringing up some things that haven't had a resolution, these contracts that need to be finished out. And this is not to make you feel like shit. It is not to make you suffer. It is to allow you to finally finish the cycle. I was connecting with a friend and she was like, why do you feel like I continue to run into this person? And I was like, because there's a contract that hasn't been completed. And I know this relationship very personally. I was like, it ended really abruptly after all of these promises, after all these connections. And so there's like this energetic completion that needs to happen. And so that's what the space can maybe bring to you. That grief, that conversation, that old connection that didn't finish completely and with like full resolution. And so if there is someone you need to forgive, including yourself, or something you left unsaid, this is the week it's going to want out. Pay attention. Pay attention to what continues to present itself. The second thing to tend to is the fear of instability itself. You might notice this week that you start to feel this anxiety for no real clear reason. Like the ground underneath you is going to continue to shift and you're like, oh my God, I'm bracing, right? That sensation is real. I'm not here to disqualify that, right? I'm not saying, oh, that's not a real thing you're feeling. Yes, it is something you are experiencing, but it is a false alarm that does not need your energy to buy into it. Okay? Because that instability is what this threshold is going to feel like internally. And once you know that that threshold, that liminal space is just like, oh, something's shifting. I'm about to step into a new timeline, a new paradigm. You can get your human form to relax a little bit. You can stop treating the space as like an emergency that you just need to control at all times. So tend to the fear of instability itself. The third thing to tend to this week is bigger dreams and messages. They do not come through usual channels. A lot of people will report vivid dreams, like this sudden clarity, a thought that doesn't sound like their typical internal voice during this week of transitions in the bardo. And so if that is going to happen to you, if it does happen to you, don't like dismiss it and be like, I don't know what to do with that. Write it down. Talk to your coach. If you're in Rooted, connect with us, send a message in the group chat. Like, let's interpret it. Let's learn to read those signs and signals. If you've been listening to this podcast and thinking, this is exactly how I want to run my business, that is your sign to go deeper. Rooted is my monthly membership for entrepreneurs and leaders who are done running their business and their career on empty. Inside, we work with energetic patterns of each season, pull the archetypes, read what's moving, and use all of it to make clearer decisions, reduce the stress that's been quietly draining you, and build towards your vision in a way that actually feels like you and feels deeply connected to source and spirit. Most of us have spent years mastering the strategy and performing really high, the plans, the goals, the hustle. Rooted is the other half. It is the part that makes the strategy work without costing you everything. It's $27 a month and you can try it free for 7 days. Go to risetoher.com/rooted or click the link in the show notes. Come get rooted with us. I'll see you inside. So again, a recap. The things you need to tend to during this week. 1, the old grief and conversations that never got finished. Tie them up. Pay attention to what's coming up. 2, the fear of instability itself. Noticing where that instability makes you feel like you need to grasp and control. Deep breath. Drop into a meditation in the integration vault and Rooted. I would say using the approaching fear with compassion meditation. That's a really beautiful one to use. And then the 3rd, pay attention to these dreams and messages that are going to get a lot more loud, a lot more vivid this week. Write them down. Talk to your community about them. Okay, so now how are we going to work with this energy? We know what we need to tend to. Now, how are we going to work with this energy? You don't need this huge ritual to be with this energy this week. What you're going to need is quiet time. This quiet time is going to do you wonders during this week. I want you to find time every day. Guys, freaking 5 minutes. Start with 5 minutes. But this is critical. Sit without your phone. See if you can do it without music. 5 minutes. You don't have to just meditate and be in your mind or try to calm all thoughts. But I want you to give yourself room to just be. Notice what thoughts come up. Notice what you begin to process and alchemize when you give yourself time to process and pay attention to the feelings that you're experiencing, the signs, the synchronicities that have been present this week. If there is a question that rises while you're sitting there, you can ask it to yourself out loud, hear it from a different perspective, write it on a piece of paper. You can ask, what am I ready to let go of? What haven't I said yet? Write it down. Instead of going back into your head and be like, oh, is that really what it is? Just write it down, guys. Please, for the love of all things holy, write it down because that engages a different part of your brain. Science has shown us this. It literally lights up a different part of the brain that this conscious brain likes to override. Times that are really good to be outside this week are going to be dusk and dawn. There is a really powerful natural threshold you can play with here. They are hinge points of the day. And they tend to make this time of listening a lot more easy, more clear because things are winding down or starting up. You're like, okay, I'm not like in the busyness yet, or I'm into the busyness. I'm recording this almost at dusk, right? I'm outside. The light may look different because I'm recording this at the end of the day. Water is going to be your ally this week. It can be a lake, an ocean, even your own bathtub. I'm hopping into the bath right after this. Really powerful after I've been around a lot of people. Might sound silly. Anywhere that you can soften the edges. So like, when you're in a bath, things are like watery and flowy. You're opening the connection. You're opening the communications. And a note on this grief, if grief or an old conversation comes up and it makes us feel uncomfortable, I know one of my things is like, how do I fix this? How do I make myself feel better? But this week, can you just let it come up and be with the emotions? You do not have to resolve everything in just one sitting, one conversation. You're being invited to just finally stop pushing it down. So say the thing that you've been avoiding saying. And even if you're like, I cannot say that to that person, write it down. Give yourself permission to be brave enough to just bring it into your own awareness of like, oh, that's what I need. Sometimes that is literally the energetic work we have to do. When I'm working with clients, it's like, oh, I need to have this boundary. I'm like, maybe you just need to allow yourself to know that a need isn't being met. And just give yourself permission to feel what you need to feel. And that in itself like dissolves it because you're coming into your own power. So that is how we are going to work with the energy this week. But let's talk about what this week is not about, things not to push. This week is not here to force big decisions. Okay. We're going to do that later in this month, the like charging forward. But this week is not about knowing what your next move is. You are going to be asked in this threshold, in this liminal space, can you just get quiet? Can you start to connect with the possibilities that are way bigger than you ever thought? Can you hear what's underneath the noise? So if you start to feel shaky this week, I just need you to know that is expected. Okay? That's okay. It's like, can you play with it, right? If you know that you're on a trampoline or you know that you're wakeboarding, you know that the ground's like moving around and you play with it. You're like, oh my God, look, I can do a flip with this. Oh my God, I can cruise behind a boat. Like, you know that that's what's supposed to be happening. And so you can relax into it a little bit. So see where you can relax into the energetics of this week, right? You are standing exactly where the energy is flowing. And that instability, that unsolid ground is on purpose and is for your highest being. Start to notice what surfaces. Write it down. Trust whatever comes up, right? Instead of going directly in your head, oh, that doesn't make sense. Just write it down. You don't have to do anything with it yet. This uncomfortability is going to allow you to finally transition and manifest what you have been calling in. I'm excited for you guys to tap into the energy of this week. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be maybe a little meh, but that meh is that human need to control. So when you find yourself doing that, just take a deep breath, connect to your rituals, connect to the things that help you feel supported. If you don't have a ritual yet, inside of Rooted, I just released this brand new workshop and it's called Calm the Fuck Down. It is 5 days of patching up your energetic leaks and creating your first doable ritual. And this is really cool to use right now in this period of transition, in this period of instability, in this spiciness, because what you're being prepped up to is to like harvest your goals, your desires. It's like, okay, you had them, so now claim them. Just like take them in, right? And so when you're able to say, okay, I can receive that, beautiful, because we're entering into harvest season. We play with the wheel of the year. We are nature. We are not separate from it. And so as you prepare to harvest, you want to make sure that you have the container that can hold those things. And so by patching up those energetic leaks, by getting your human form to calm down and just reconnect to Mother Nature, to see where you're trying to do it all when you're trying to control, and then creating that ritual that you can drop into when things get shaky, shifts everything. And so in that workshop, you get immediate access to it in Rooted. So again, you can join with a 7-day free trial, or if you're already a member, jump into that. It is going to change your life. I can guarantee it. I got so excited when I made it. Calm the fuck down. It is 5 days to patching up your energy leaks and creating your first ritual so that you can immediately decrease stress in your life because you're connecting back to Pachamama, to Mother Earth in a way that you haven't in the past. Even if you're working with the energies, like this is just this really concrete way of doing it. So work with that this week. Make sure you're using your rituals. It's not like, oh, I need to sit around this fire and do all of these things. No, this is just like your daily repeatable ritual to connect back with something bigger than you. All right. That's what I got for you guys this week. If you like this, if you learned anything, share it on Instagram, tag us at Rise to Her. Leave us a comment on Apple or Spotify. That is a really great way to support this work. Get it out there. If you're on YouTube, follow, give us a comment. It really means a lot. I hope you guys have a great week. It's going to be good. It is just so full of possibility. I want you to know that in this space, anything can happen. That reminds me, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Yeah. So play with that. That's what the fun is. All right. I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, reflecting, and rising into more of who you really are. If this episode sparked something inside of you or reminded you you're not alone, then you're exactly where you're meant to be. To keep the conversation going, come hang out with me on Instagram @rise2her. I always love hearing what's resonating for you. And if you're craving a space to explore intuitive, soul-led living with others who get it, our community is growing and you're always welcome. Until next time, trust yourself, honor your rhythm, and keep rising.